All right, let's dive in. Juz 30 of the Quran. Big questions on the table today. Creation, judgment, the afterlife. These themes, they pop up everywhere, across cultures, across history. Where do we come from? What happens next? I got to say, reading through these surahs got me thinking. They offer a really unique perspective on all of this.
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. These questions, they're universal.
Hmm.
What's interesting is how Juz 30 tackles them. It all starts with the divine creator. And it's not just about acknowledging a higher power. It's about understanding our place in this divinely ordained system. That's how Islam approaches accountability, purpose, all of it.
So it's like, got to know the rules of the game before you can play.
Precisely. And Juz 30, it lays out the game board in vivid detail. Think about Surah An-Naba. You included it in your selection. The creation of the earth, the heavens, those majestic mountains, the constant flow between day and night. It's breathtaking.
It really is. As I was reading, I felt this sense of awe, like watching something magnificent unfold. But it's not just about the what, is it? It's the why woven into it all.
Absolutely. The Quran emphasizes this creation. It's not random. It's not arbitrary. It's a provision meticulously designed for us. Signs meant to make us reflect, contemplate. Everything's in balance, carefully planned, even the way humans are created, in pairs. An-Naba highlights that, right? Speaks to that balance.
And you know what that makes me think of? Fitra, this beautiful concept, that innate inclination towards good in each of us, a yearning for connection, understanding, a reflection of that balance in creation itself.
Exactly. It's that inherent desire for harmony, to find our place in this grand tapestry of existence. But with that gift, with creation, with free will, comes responsibility. Juz 30 reminds us of that over and over, this inescapable truth echoing like a drumbeat. Judgment Day is coming.
And it doesn't shy away from it either, the imagery. Powerful stuff. The horn that shatters the heavens, mountains crumbling to dust, the sky splitting open. It's almost cinematic. You see it in An-Naba, Naziat, at Takwir, Al-Infitar, Al-Inshikak. Hard to ignore, right?
Rightfully so. And yet, even with those warnings, there's this human tendency to deny. An-Naba and An-Naziat both touch upon this doubt, even in the face of overwhelming evidence. A pattern throughout history, wouldn't you say?
It's that can't happen to me mentality. But it makes you wonder, as you're listening, as you delve into these surahs, what stands out to you about the language, the descriptions, that feeling of awe, maybe trepidation? Keep those emotions in mind. Because things get even more interesting as we explore how our actions in this life, they determine our fate in the next.
It's really fascinating how Juz 30 builds this narrative, You start off contemplating the majesty of creation, and then bam, it hits you. That sense of accountability, like the tone shifts, becomes more urgent, especially when you stumble upon those verses where people are wishing, if only I had done things differently.
It's that wake-up call, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, your actions, they have consequences. And not just the ones we can see right here, right now. Speaking of which, it really got me thinking and trying to be more mindful in my own life.
Exactly. And that's the whole point. It's not supposed to be about fear. It's about responsibility. Islam places so much emphasis on free will, on choosing our path. But with that freedom comes consequence. Juz 30 illustrates this balance beautifully. Take Surah Az-Zalzala. It drives home this point. Every deed, every action, even something as seemingly insignificant as the weight of an atom, it matters in the grand scheme of things.
The butterfly effect.
Yes. And as you're reading through these surahs, you see this contrast. It pops up again and again. The righteous and the wicked. An-Naba, An-Naziat, At-Takwir, Al-Infitar, Al-Muwaffifin, Al-Inshikak. It's a recurring theme.
Almost like two paths laid out,
Exactly. A powerful way to highlight the choices we make, the divergent paths. But there's a deeper layer here, I think. It's not about some divine being keeping score in some celestial ledger. It's much more personal than that. Juz 30 reminds us we're keeping our own records through our choices, our actions etching a permanent mark on our very souls. Surah Al-Infitar, it offers a glimpse of this.
So it's like our deeds, they shape who we're becoming, this imprint we carry.
Yes, and that leads us to those vivid descriptions, right? Sijin and Ilion.
The destinations.
The imagery is striking. Sijin, a desolate abyss, consumed by fire, reserved for the records of the wicked. Then you have Ilion, this magnificent garden, a paradise where the records of the righteous are kept safe. Al-Muwaffifin lays out these contrasting destinations, serving as powerful reminders of where our choices might lead.
And then there's those ever-present angels, right? Meticulously recording our deeds. We see this in Al-Infitar and Al-Qadr. Talk about accountability. Why the emphasis, do you think, on scales, records, this idea of a cosmic balance being weighed?
Because it's so easy to get caught up, right, in the here and now.
Yep.
Humans were wired for instant gratification, but these images, these metaphors, they snap us out of that short-sightedness. They remind us there's a bigger picture. Our actions have weight, permanence that goes way beyond this earthly existence.
So it's call to action then, to live
Yeah.
intentionally with that in mind.
Absolutely. What we do, it matters. Not just for us, but for the world around us and for the hereafter. Speaking of which, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about accountability, about those consequences. But now let's take a look at the destination, the descriptions of paradise, and the searing reality of hellfire.
It's like we've been weighing our deeds and now we get to see what's behind the curtain, right?
Yeah.
Those descriptions of paradise, vivid stuff, the gardens, the rivers, you can almost feel it.
Sensory details, they really draw you in, but it's important to remember these descriptions, they're symbolic ultimately, trying to capture a reality that's beyond our grasp, like explaining color to someone who's never seen it.
Right, like trying to put an ocean in a teacup. But even those symbolic descriptions, they pack a punch.
Yeah.
Paradise. It's more than just lush landscapes, right? Surah Al-Ghashiyah talks about this deep peace, an absence of hardship, of hurtful words. It's a paradise of the soul, just as much as the senses.
Speaks to that innate human desire, doesn't it? For comfort, for connection, a place free from the burdens of this world. And then there's hellfire, just as captivating, but in a very different way.
Intense imagery. Surah Al-Ghashiyah, Al-Humaza, they don't hold back. But the torment, it's not just physical, is it? There's this element of anguish, of regret, a deep understanding of what's been lost. It's haunting.
It underscores the fact that the true weight of those consequences, it's felt on a soul level. It's a powerful deterrent.
Like that story of the companions of the trench in Surah Al-Buruj. Their cruelty, their disbelief, it leads to their destruction.
Yeah.
Our choices, they have this ripple effect, impacting not just ourselves, but others.
Exactly. And you know, what I find interesting is that Jews 30, it doesn't just show us what to expect, it guides us on how to live. We've talked about accountability, about those consequences, right? But then throughout these surahs, we get these practical instructions. Purify yourself, do good deeds. It's about aligning your actions with your beliefs.
It brings it all down to earth, doesn't it? It's not just about the afterlife, it's about striving to be better right now. And that emphasis on purification, it's everywhere. Allah Ashams.
And it's not just about the rituals, it's about intentions, how we interact with others, embracing compassion, generosity. Al-Balad, Al-Dutuha, they talk about this, caring for the vulnerable, showing kindness, even when it's hard.
Makes me think of that story in Surah Abasa, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, encountering a blind man. Even in the middle of important discussions, he takes the time to engage with this man, showing him respect, dignity. A powerful lesson there.
Treating everyone with kindness, regardless of their station, it's at the heart of Islamic teachings, faith reflected in action, and all of this striving for purification, for good deeds, it starts from within.
That inner transformation, that's what Juice 30 keeps coming back to. Ashar, at Takathur. They highlight this. The heart is where our desires live, but it's also where our faith takes root. It's about cultivating that inner garden.
And you know what's a powerful source of inspiration for that? The wonders of creation. Surah Al-Ghashiyah reminds us of this. Reflecting on the world around us, the balance in nature, the sheer scale of the universe, it fosters this sense of humility, of gratitude.
It's about perspective, right? Our place in all of this. Wow, when you bring it all together, it's quite a journey, this Jews 30. The majesty of creation, the weight of judgment, that promise of paradise, and the reality of hellfire, all leading to this profound call for inner transformation.
The unseen world, it's real. Our actions, they have consequences that echo far beyond what we can grasp. And true peace, it comes from aligning our hearts, our actions with the divine.
And that brings us to that final question, doesn't it? Posed in Surah An-Nas. Seeking refuge from those whispers that can lead us astray. Where do you think those whispers come from? From within. Those shadows of doubt, of desire. Or from forces outside, trying to pull us off course. Jews 30 gives us the knowledge, the tools, the inspiration to face those struggles. Now it's up to each of us to take those lessons to heart, to continue that journey.